Hi, this is David with Best Rest Products, home of the Cycle Pump tire inflator that has a lifetime warranty. Today we're going to talk about Cyclops LED headlight bulbs. This is the best headlight bulb we've ever found. In the past we've sold high-performance halogen bulbs that did a pretty good job, but still the bike was limited by only one headlight, or maybe two, and it just couldn't put out enough power, couldn't put out enough light to see down the road. Well, this is the answer to being able to see at night or be seen by other cars. This is an H4 system. It's going to go into Steve's 2013 BMW G650GS. The whole process takes about 20 minutes. We found that it's easier to take off the windscreen and take off the instrument cluster because that gave us more working room. But you don't necessarily need to do that. The kit comes with the LED light module. It's got a small fan on the back. This fan keeps the system cool because heat is something that LEDs don't like. It has a small driver module that is basically the brains of the system, and at the end of the wiring harness is your standard 3-prong H4 plug. We were counseled by Cyclops that for this particular bike we need to change the position of the LED emitters in relation to the reflector of the headlight. In order to do that, we use small spacers. The kit comes with two spacers. There's a 16th inch spacer and an 1/8 inch spacer. So based on their counsel, what we did is we took off the small 3-prong surround, took out 2 small screws using a small Phillips screwdriver, put the spacer in, put everything back together, reassembled the bulb assembly, and now it's ready to go into the bike. You may find on your particular bike that has an H4 bulb that you'll have to experiment with the size of spacer. The spacer determines how far forward or back the light emitting diode goes so that you get the best pattern and that you get the best spread of light. And so it may take a little experimentation, but once you've got the system in, it's very easy to change these. We used a couple of tools in this process. A pair of needle nose pliers are handy, a very small flat bladed screwdriver, a short stubby Phillips screwdriver, a very small Phillips screwdriver. That's for removing the screws on this base plate. And then finally a small flashlight because it's dark in there and you want to be able to see up close. So we're going to go to the installation process, and it'll take us just a few minutes. We'll show you how it works. So we take off the 4 screws that holds the windscreen in place. We then have to remove 1 screw at the lower right of the instrument cluster. And once that's done, this instrument cluster is on some rubber bushings and pins. By simply pushing it off gently, the instrument cluster comes off. There's also a connector on the back side of that cluster that plugs into the cluster itself. There's a very small tab that has to be released using a screwdriver. Difficult to explain how to make that release happen, but if you turn it around and look on the underside, press on it, then it will release the fitting and allow the connector to come off the bike. Now we can easily see the connector assembly that goes into the back of the bulb. It's rubber shrouded. We pull on it gently. We see the 3 prongs of the stock headlight. We pull off the rubber boot and get it out of the way. Now we're looking at the back of the light assembly. It's got 2 wire connectors, they're called bails. Press those down, release them, and we rotate that up, and out comes the stock bulb. Now we bring in the Cyclops light element. We take off the base plate by pressing down, removing it by twisting it a 1/4 turn. We then take the Cyclops base plate and put it into the headlight housing, and then we connect it using the 2 wire bails. We have the 2 wire bails in place, hooked on the little ears right here and right here. We found that because of the depth of the spacer that we fitted, that we had a little trouble getting this one to go on. So the way to solve that was to loosen the top pivot screw, and that gave us a little more working room. So just by loosening this screw, it takes some tension off the system and allowed us to get both of the wire bales in place. Now we have the fitting for the Cyclops light. Next, we're going to refit the rubber boot around the back of the bulb assembly. That's a waterproof boot that keeps crud from getting in there. We have that fitted in place. Then we take the Cyclops light assembly, we slip it into the hole, we rotate it until we find the position where it fits. There's only one spot, and then we lock it in place by turning it a quarter turn to the right. We have the driver assembly, we have the H4 connection. We connect the 3-prong H4 to the plug of the BMW, and the system is installed. We have to take the driver and this connector, we have to zip tie them down in place so that they're not in the way. We'll take a short break, zip tie them, and then we'll show you our finished process. So we have zip tied the H4 connector to one side. We've zip tied the Cyclops driver over here so they don't rattle around, so they're out of the way. We've turned the handlebars back and forth to make sure there's no interference with cables. And we're ready to reinstall the instrument cluster, put the windscreen on, and then we'll do another test shot showing what kind of light performance we're getting from this Cyclops LED lighting system. So we've completed the installation. We've reinstalled the instrument cluster. It just pushes into place. There's one screw over here that has to be screwed in. We've got the Cyclops driver zip tied in place securely on the left. We have the H4 connector zip tied securely on the right. We've checked to make sure that there's no interference with the cables or the front of the bike as the bike turns, and we're ready to turn this on and get some real light. So we finished our installation. The next thing we have to do is check and see if it worked. Turn on the ignition, and that is, let me tell you, that is a substantial amount of light. That's low beam, that's high beam, and I've never seen a headlight from a motorcycle put out that much light. We're convinced that the Cyclops LED is the best system on the market, which is why we sell them at Best Rest Products. Order yours today from our website. This is David with Best Rest, home of the cycle pump tire inflator that has a lifetime warranty. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you on the trail.